This is Mike Hanawald, field agronomist with Beck's Hybrids. Two updates I want to share with you this week. Number one on planting this week, and then number two on top dressing wheat. So starting off with planting, we've got some beautiful weather for the second week of April, and it's about to get nicer over the next few days, and there's going to be a lot of fields that are going to be drying out and getting fit that we might consider going out and putting some seed in the ground. So first thing to think about is number one, regardless of what you're thinking about planting, we're early enough and we've got a lot of time yet to go. I would not push any limits when it comes to planting conditions. So making sure that we're waiting for the right conditions, that we're waiting for the soils to dry out enough, to be dry enough to do any tillage, as well as dry enough to be out planting. Wait for those good conditions at this point. Second thing is, should you be planting beans or corn? So I'm much more comfortable planting beans this early than what I am corn. Two reasons for that. So number one is that beans provide you a better yield response to early planting. Our PFR data has shown that over many years, that while corn and beans both benefit from early planting, the response from beans is more consistent and a bigger percentage of yield response by planting those beans earlier. Number two is that while corn is more cold tolerant than beans, if we are faced with cool, wet conditions, which is our biggest risk for planting this early, if we're faced with those cool, wet conditions after we plant, the beans are able to work themselves through that a little bit better. Not that they're more cold tolerant, it's that we can tolerate a little bit more stand loss with beans than what we can with corn. So for example, if you go out and plant 160,000 plant seeds per acre of soybeans and you get a final stand of 120,000 plants per acre, we're content with that, and we can grow a very good soybean crop even with a 25% reduction. Even if you're planting lower populations and you start with 120 and you finish with 90, we can grow a good bean crop with 90,000 if we have to. However, with corn, if you have that same 25% reduction from 32,000 down to 24,000, well, we know that that's going to cost us some yield potential, and we don't want to end up in that situation. Planting into near perfect conditions for corn and getting every single plant out in a short period of time and every plant out very consistently is much more important for corn than what it is for beans. And so if we're going to have a little bit less than ideal conditions that these seedlings are going to face after planting, which is potential if you look at the forecast for next week, then the beans will probably tolerate that a little bit better and we'll be happier with the end result. So that's just some considerations with planting. If you want to get the bean planter out and try it out and see, get the bugs worked out of it, wouldn't break any records with how many acres you can cover, but I think you can be successful planting beans early if you would like. If you really want to get the corn planter out and plant a few small fields and work the bugs out, especially if you've added some new technology, I'm not going to say you can't do that, but I would just be a little bit more cautious in the number of acres that you're getting out based on what past history tells us. All right, a few notes on top dressing wheat. So there's a lot of wheat to be top dressed yet, whether with a pass of all the nitrogen or making a second pass of nitrogen. And just want to encourage you, something to think about we normally don't have to worry about when it comes to wheat top dress, and that is volatility of nitrogen due to heat. So normally when we're top dressing wheat, it's cold, but this week we're going to be pushing 80 degrees near the end of the week, and that is prime conditions for the urea portion of our nitrogen to volatilize. So whether you're broadcasting dry urea or even spraying liquid 28% UAN, half that 28% is urea and is exposed to potential for vulnerability. So if you can cover your wheat acres in a short period of time, I'd encourage you to wait till the end of the week. They're forecasting some rain over the weekend. It doesn't take very much rain to take that nitrogen down into the soil. And so I'd encourage you to wait and maybe do that a little bit later this week so that rain will take it down. The other thing you can do is you can add a stabilizer such as Agrotane that protects against volatilization. But the other thing is, I hope that you're running thiazole or some sulfur source with your nitrogen when you are applying. And if you're using liquid thiazole with UAN 28%, some research from the North Dakota State University actually indicates that thiazole works as a stabilizer as well. Not quite as good as Agrotane, but it does work and will help reduce the volatility. And so that is an option as well. So just some things to think about when it comes to top dressing wheat. If you have any questions about these or any other agronomic topics, feel free to reach out to myself or your local Beck's representative, and we'd be happy to help. Good luck and stay safe.